All right, welcome to the webinar, How to Become a Primalista and Question and Answer session. So we're just going to get started. I know today is a long weekend over East and a lot of people will be out doing amazing things with their family. So if you're catching the replay, hello, and welcome to those of you who are joining me live. All right, so what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to try and make it as powery, as punchy as possible. So we're going to get in and out, hopefully within 30 minutes, because I know there is so much stuff online at the moment. I didn't want to drag it out today. So other than watching this webinar today, which will last for about half an hour, the best other place to source your information from about the Primalista license is the license page. And you can find that at primalalternative.com/license. And that's all you need to know. Okay, so today I'm going to go through how the license works, how much you can earn. You're going to hear from our Primalistas. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to talk you through how much it costs, including the startup costs, and run through the bonuses of what you get when you join as a Primalista. Now, the call to action, what I want you to do after you've watched this webinar today is to book your interview with me. It happens here on Zoom. It's totally not like a, typical interview. It's more a case of looking at how this business model could work in your life. And you'll meet me on Zoom here. We'll go through your desires of what you're looking for around your business, how that's going to fit in time-wise, which stockist you're planning on approaching, and how much you want to earn in your business. So it's a bit of a business planning strategy session to see if it could work for you or not. So there are only 6 weeks left to become a Primalista in 2020 before I take a break for Christmas. And the Primalista license will be increasing by $500. Every dollar that I talk about in this webinar is Australian dollars, okay? And it's going to be increasing for the first time. The Primalista license has been $5,000 ever since I launched in 2016, and it'll be going up by $500 from December the 17th. So the place to head to after this webinar is primalalternative.com/apply. That'll take you through to my diary, and you can find a time that works for you in there. All right. So how did Primal Alternative start? Well, before I dive into everything, I'd just like to make a little introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Helen Marshall. Please call me H. Even my dad calls me H. And I live on the south coast of Western Australia with Mike and our kids, Sam and Millie. And I'm going to go through this bit really quickly because I know now from interviewing hundreds of potential Primalistas that everybody got into this way of life with some version of their own health crisis. So this was mine. It wasn't a very good place, but I'm very grateful for the lesson that it taught me in terms of cleaning up my diet and going on to create the amazing brand that is now Primal Alternative. So as part of my healing journey, I ditched grains. And if you are following me on Instagram, you'll see that we're doing a grain-free November, which I'd love you to be part of. So all you've got to do is just put pictures of your grain-free food on your social media and just tag in Primal Alternative. And I'm going to give away a prize for the best pick each week. So it's our first ever community challenge, and it's just a bit of fun to get everybody sharing. So grains, why do we want to eat grains? Well, they're full of anti-nutrients. They contain phytates and lectins, usually a lot of gluten. And most recently, a lot of our grains have been genetically modified and sprayed with chemicals, and a lot of products that contain grains, like the humble loaf of bread that was just wheat and flour and yeast has got so many more ingredients in now. All you've got to do is just pick up a loaf of bread at the supermarket and wonder with amazement, what are all of those ingredients? So my health transformation was so profound that I felt compelled to share it with other people. So I qualified as a primal health coach so that I could reach out to other people who were feeling as helpless and sick as I was, and show them that they weren't on their own and that they could make some changes with a few diet and lifestyle tweaks. But I got kickback. And my customers said to me, "Oh my God, H, this is so hard. I'm spending the whole of my life in the kitchen. You can't just go and get your meat from the supermarket anymore. You need to make friends with your butcher, make sure the animals had a nice life before you eat it. And then you've got to make your own sauerkraut, make your own broth. You can't eat bread anymore. You pretty much can't buy anything from the supermarket anymore. You've got to make everything from scratch." And I totally understood what they meant, because our family couldn't have done the paleo primal transition without, staples like cookies and bread. So I shared some of my recipes and made products for them. And the feedback that I got was that the products were life-changing. It was literally the difference between being able to stick to this way of life or just derailing all of their efforts altogether. So I knew that I wanted to get this model out to the world, but the idea of factories and warehouses and all that kind of thing just didn't light me up. And I also knew from my years working in the gym and as a recruitment manager that there was a real lack of business opportunities, essentially in the beginning, for women like myself that didn't want to go in the corporate world anymore. They wanted to do something from home that fitted around their family or their lifestyle. So by sharing what I'd done, my little successful baking model, it just empowered other women with their own business, so that they could do what they loved and not reinvent the wheel with coming up with a new brand and a new business concept. It was a tried and tested concept, so the chances of them being successful were a lot higher. And only just last week, you may have seen, we've now evolved as a brand to have male Primalistas, which just feels so incredible and so right. And especially in this year, when there's been so much change, I know that it's not just women now who are looking for different ways to work and to be the boss of their own business in, an essential industry, which we are, is food. We are already safely isolated at home, and we can do contactless delivery. So I know that I've heard from the Victorian Primalistas during lockdown, being able to go to their markets and deliver food outside of the 5-kilometer radius was like a light at the end of the tunnel for them, and a real community immersion for them, which has been phenomenal. So that's enough about me. What about you? I would love you to put your comments in the chat box. And if you're watching the replay, just play along at home and let me know why you're here today. What's your why? Is it because you want to be your own boss? Is it because you want to contribute to the household finances? Is it because you want to work from home and choose your own hours? And if you just put the numbers in the chat box, that would be great. You don't need to write the whole thing out, right? Is it because you want to follow your passion and make a difference to others? Is it because you want to be there for your family, or do something for you that's going to challenge you and help you grow? So I'll just have a look in the chat group and see what the comments are. All right. And then while you are doing that, I want to know what's stopping you from moving ahead. What's holding you back? Is it money constraints? Is it time constraints? Is it lack of know-how? Is it family duties? Is it current job restraints? Or is it fear, self-doubt, or lack of confidence? So if you want to work out where the chat group, the chat box is, if you just go to the bar in Zoom and then just click on the more ... button, and the first thing there is chat. So I'll just write in there, hello, and then you will hopefully see it, and then you can write to me what your answers are in there. Awesome. All right. I'd love to hear what your why is and what's holding you back. And don't forget that what I'd love you to do after you have watched today's webinar is to book your interview with me. There's only 6 weeks left to join Primal Alternative in 2020, and there will be a $500 price increase from December the 17th. Okay, let me just see what's happening in the chat group. Hello. Awesome. Hello. All right. Who is this webinar for? Well, it's for people who love real food and health, who love baking and already spend a lot of time in the kitchen, who want to support others to be healthy, and who are looking for a new way of working that's not the old bricks and mortar 9 to 5 outdated paradigm hamster wheel. Don't get me started on that one. And are looking for something to align their values with again. Who is this not for? Well, move right along if you don't want to start your own business, you're happy in your current job, you know exactly what to do, you just haven't got around to it yet. Or you're a trailblazer and you want to figure it all out for yourself. Okay, so let's go through the Primal Alternative range. Now, I'm going to just spend a little bit of time on this. Oh, good. Thank you, Stacey. Stacey says, I want to be able to work from home doing something that works with our lifestyle and works around family. Perfect. That's awesome. That sounds really good. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on the Primal Alternative range. You can head to the website and really dive into all of the different products that we've got, what the ingredients are, what the macros are, what the prices are. So do spend some time having a look at that, either on the shop page or on the product range page. But we do have the traditional range, which is what I started the brand with 6.5 years ago. And then what I noticed was there was more of a demand for low carb and keto products. That's when the whole low carb movement really took off and people wanted 0 carbs in their food. So I tweaked products from the traditional range to create a low carb range without making it too unstreamlined. And then a lot of people either were vegan or were looking for something that was egg and dairy free. Egg and dairy is a really common allergen. So I created our vegan range as well. And then in September, I doubled the brand in terms of the offerings that we had and the business model for the Primalistas by introducing our granola and also our whole food business, which essentially is Primalistas will be passing on their bulk ingredients to their customers. So simply buying their ingredients, packaging them and selling them on. Genius, right? And it just really increases the offering and the earning capacity for our producers without taking on new products with different ingredients. So for example, our granola happened because, excuse me, I was just looking to get some new products on the online shop, and Sally, was one of our lovely Primalistas, said to me, hey, you know, we've already got all of the ingredients for granola. We could make it ourselves. And that's how the beautiful Primal Alternative brand has evolved, because when you've got a group of 125 incredible people, innovation is inevitable. So we're working on our whole foods business at the moment, and come 2021, we'll have all the new labels ready, and Primalistas will be able to start offering their whole foods to their customers too. So it's a really awesome time to come on board. Now, this is a Q&A style webinar. So whatever questions you've got, please put them in the chat group. If you're watching the replay or you're watching this on IGTV or Facebook, put your questions in the chat box in the comments, and I will circle back around and answer all of them. Okay, so just a reminder again, the chat box in the Zoom meeting is 3 dots and more, and then the top button, chat, and you can ask your questions there. All right, so how does the license work and how can it work for you? I'm not going to show you this video now, but on our license page, you can have a behind the scenes look at the recipes and resources. So essentially the recipes and resources are 2 pages on the website, on the Primalista website. And the recipes contain the recipes as well as how-to videos of me making the products and showing you how to do it and how to package them properly so they all have some consistency and all look the same. And then on the resources page, it's just basically a whole page of drop-down tabs on whatever it is that you're looking for information for, whether it's how to create, how to get your Primal Alternative logo, how to get your email address, how to get your web access, how do you deal with shop orders, how do you send an invoice to the online shop, how do you approach a stockist, how do you get a sale, how much do you charge? Everything that you need to know is on these 2 pages. And like I said, if you want to go to the license page and watch the video and have a look behind the scenes, then go ahead and do it. It's definitely worthwhile. I love just showing you everything that I've got before you join, so there's no surprises. But pretty much everything you need to start a business and do it well based on your version of success is there. So how can it work for you? Well, the Primalista license will get you started with a food safety program that will help you get your food business registration from council, and then you start your business, right? Easy. So let's have a look at, I'm going to show you a video now of how to make our Primal Alternative products.
Let's make the quirky cooking macadamia and currant shortbread. So I'm starting off by blitzing the macadamias. So pop those to the side. I'm going in with the tapioca flour and the almond meal, the coconut sugar, and then our organic butter. So I'm going to mix this for 10 seconds. And then I'm going to add in the macadamias and the currant, just popping in the rose water. So just getting a small portion, zeroing the scales and trying to guess magic 30. So you want to create a little ball with your hands, like so, and then just gently push down like that. That's your cookie. These smell so good. And then you're going to take them 3 at a time. This is a special technique. And then going in with the other 3. And then we're just going to squeeze the air out of the bag, twist to the top of the bag, and then for the highly satisfying, pop in your label in the center. Voila.
And another one for you, I think. Go.
Let's make pizza bases. So I'm going in first of all with the cashew nut milk. Then I'm going in with my eggs. Then I am going to add the grain-free baking powder. And now in with the salt. Don't forget the coconut oil. So I'm just going to take that off the Thermomix and just scrape down the sides of the bowl. And just going to mix again, speed 5, 30 seconds. And then you're going to take your pizza tray and pop it onto the scales. So once you've measured it, I like to take it off the scales and then just spread it around using your spatula. So the pizzas are all done. So again, we want to take them off the tray straight away. And we're going to put them in the bag like this. And again, one last cuddle, squeezing the air out of the bag. And put the label in the center. And there you go.
And And there you go. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about the recipes. But the key point that I want to make with the recipes is they're really simple. So they're just a simple measure, mix, and bake. So you don't need to have any artisan baking skills. You don't need to have chefing qualifications or anything like that. The recipes are simple and they need to be if we want to have consistency across the brand, right? So if you want to try a primal alternative recipe, I've got a free grain-free herb bread recipe on the blog. I think it might even be a web page, but if you just Google primal alternative grain-free herb bread, it will come up. And to be honest, it's just a tweak on our zucchini bread. Obviously, we couldn't put one of our real recipes on the internet, but that was just a slight tweak. So give it a crack. And if you like it, then, and if you find the recipe easy, then rest assured you will find the other recipes easy too. Now, let's hear from some of our Primalisters. So let's go on to, oh, hang on a minute. I think, I don't know, yeah. So we are now on to how much, it's live, okay? How much can you earn is a question I get asked a lot. Something I really want to say is at Primal Alternative, it's not all about what you earn. Okay, so I know that there's lots of different reasons people come into this business and lots of different reasons people want to be in the health and wellness space, working from home, all of those different things. However, I'm a firm believer that there needs to be a fair and equitable exchange for what you're doing, right? Otherwise, it's just a hobby that'll end up burning you out. And I've seen it so many times. So one of the things I like about the Primalista model in particular is that I know it's a viable business model, that you're going to get paid well for what you do, and you deserve that. Okay. So, like I said, money isn't everything, but here's an example. And a waiver here is that you'll never get an order of 20 of everything, right? It's going to be one of this, 3 of that, 10 of that, 60 of that. But this is just for an illustration purpose. We have 2 prices. One is a wholesale price, one is a retail price. So a wholesale price is when you sell to a business. A retail price is when you sell to a customer. Obviously, when you sell to a business, they take a cut because they then sell it for you to the customer. So this is 10 of each. So 10 going to retail, 10 going to wholesale price. So if you bake this, you would produce $1,198 worth of revenue, which would be about just over $625 to you. And this would take about 10 hours to produce. Obviously, it might take you less time. It might take you longer. And when you first start, it'll definitely take you longer until you get your head around the recipes and get into a streamlined way of doing things. Now, this is, full disclosure, the cost to produce. So you can see from this, so the black section here is the cost to produce, and in there is the ingredients and the packaging. So it doesn't take into account the conversion, so like your electricity or your gas or your market stall fees or your petrol when you're delivering, because obviously those are too many variables. But if you were selling at the retail price, if you were selling pizzas and wraps, 63% of the product price is yours. Here's the wholesale price. And then, like I said, we have the 2 prices. So usually when you develop your business, you'll be selling some at wholesale and some at retail. So you can see it's about 50% overall. And here are those figures again for you to absorb for the cookies. Again, just over 50% overall. The mixes, I love the mixes because they've got a brilliant margin and a 6-month shelf life. And then the breads. So again, just under 50% profit to you. So, if you're thinking, oh, I want to earn about $500 a week, then you want to be getting up to about $1,000 worth of sales to get that profit to you. And I'm all about having a lean startup. Don't go out and buy car decal and all the whistles and caps and tops and it's not necessary. And also don't waste your time trying to reinvent another brand. Just be Primal Alternative by you, and you'll find in the resources section a branding guidelines and logos and just simple ways to just start your business without spending hours trying to reinvent something for you, because that's all done for you. All right, so let's talk about startup costs. So you're going to need a food business registration, which varies from council to council, but it's around $500. You're going to need public and product liability insurance, which is about $50 a month. One of our Primalistas is an insurance broker, and she's pretty much done everybody's insurance. So that can be one headache taken out if you want to do that. You'll need a Thermomix or another food processor with a minimum 2-liter capacity bowl. And my strong recommendation is to use what you already have, because the last thing you want to be doing is starting a business and learning a new machine, right? And also keep that lean startup. You're going to need some loaf tins. And I need to let you know that we currently have a worldwide shortage of our bread tins. I know. I'm getting some manufactured from the factory in China as we speak, and I'm hoping that they're going to be landing around February, March next year. There's just delays worldwide with everything, and you know why. I'm not even going to mention it, but that's what's happening. So luckily, so far, a lot of Primalistas are sharing out tins, and we're so far so good. But I do need to let you know that that's the current situation, re-tins. But there is a lot of the range that you can start with without making the breads. So you can get started with the other items and then bring the breads on when the tins land. So you're going to need pizza trays. We can get those. Woohoo. Cooling racks, insect nets, baking trays, jelly molds, which you probably have already got quite a lot of those at home. You're going to need scales, baking paper, a water spray, a spatula, apron, hairnet, gloves, labels, bags, a heat sealer to seal the bio bags, and ingredients. Now, you'll see some things have got a green line through them, and those are things that you're going to make your money back on, right? So you're going to need bags and labels and ingredients to make the products, to go to market, to sell them, and then you'll recoup your investment. Does that make sense? So you're going to need around $1,800 to get started. And I reckon you'll make your money back on about 1,300 of it. Now, if you want to also have a market, you're going to need probably another $300 to get yourself a trestle table, a gazebo, one of the beautiful banners that goes across the back of your stall, some boxes to make your table look nice, some Hessian tablecloth, that kind of thing. So factor that in too. Obviously, these are all roundabout costs and there's no guarantees. Can't say that enough. So let's look at total startup costs. So currently, if you pay upfront for your license, you're looking at $5,499 plus your startup costs. So you're looking at $7,299. I reckon you could be up and running in anything from 2 weeks to 2 months. I'd love you to check out the Primalista survey stats. You'll be able to find that on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Where I've recently just asked the Primalista some questions around this, like how long did it take you to get your first sale? And most Primalistas got their first sale within the first month of getting their food business registration, which is really cool. And another Primalista just commented on that last night and said she got her first sale as soon as she was announced as a new Primalista. It's pretty cool, right? To be able to capitalize on the Primal Alternative brand name. It just means that you'll be up and running and making sales quicker than if you started your own brand from scratch. So most people that I see at interview, they want to make about $300 to $500 a week gross profit. So if you were doing $300 a week gross profit, it would take you about 6 months to pay off your investment. And if you were doing $500 a week gross profit, it would take you about 3 months to recoup your investment. And there's also $110 monthly membership that you pay. That's just an ongoing fee. That starts coming out after you finish your cooling off period. And that's it. All of the profit from the sales is yours. So Primal Alternative doesn't take a percentage of what you sell. It's just $110 a month membership ongoing. All right, there you go. So is this the best business for you? So you could start your own. You could absolutely do this. I did. So could you. You could start a new do-it-yourself whole food business. You're going to need access to capital. Who knows how much? You're going to need to create a new brand, develop a new unique selling point, develop the marketing, build new systems, train staff. There's the new business risk. Will the product sell? Will there be a demand? Or you could buy the done for you business in a box, Primalista license. You're going to need access to capital, but it's a limited amount. You've got a better idea of how much. You're joining an established brand with a predefined unique selling point. There's already every freaking marketing material you could want in our resources drive. You're going to have a supplied sales process, everything from a script to read when you first ring a stockist until you get used to your way of selling the product. Everything's fully systemized. There's training and support provided, which means there's a lower risk, more chance of sales because there's already a predetermined demand. So basically, the Primalista license investment, the money that you spend on the license, gets you from A to B quicker than if you started yourself from scratch. So with the Primalista license, you can get a quick startup. So this is the first order ever by our lovely Primalista Amanda in New South Wales. And she said, well, they've sold out of the bread and cookies in just 2 days. And I've just had an order for another 26 more loaves. Please send me a lifeboat. So I think we worked out that was over $700 worth of an order. Not bad. And this is from Primalista Tara. This is her first delivery, just to give you an idea on varying sizes of orders. And she said it was such a good feeling dropping that off. And it really is. Baking it, putting it in the bag, putting a label on, standing back and going, oh, that looks so good. And it's really great to see your products on the shelf in a shop. That's a really cool feeling too. But what if it all goes wrong, right? What if you fail? Now, I am all about exploring the perceived. Ooh, I just gave myself a heart attack. I think I'll just turn that down. What if you do fail? And like I said, I'm all about exploring the perceived advantages, which is what we've done so far. But I also like exploring the perceived disadvantages, because I'm not here to sell you a fantasy, because that's just selling you half of what things are. I want you to look at the whole, because then when you look at things at the whole, you can make a more of a transcended minded view of whether this is right for you or not. And you can really look the perceived disadvantages in the face and explore them, because when you do that, you get to mitigate any potential risk, which means there's going to be less chance of it going wrong. Okay. So let's look at doubts and fears. Okay. They're normal, right? They are so normal. And we've all got saboteur archetypes within us, and they're really helpful, because once you start going over here with something, oh my God, it's amazing, it's going to be the answer to everything I've been looking for, your inner thermostat just brings you back into your authentic self and into true alignment and says, hang on a minute, all of these things could go wrong. And then again, if we go too far the other way, then you start to think of all the good things that could go right. Okay. So it's just about finding that homeostasis, or that balanced viewpoint of exploring the doubts and the fears. So maybe it's time, maybe it's money, maybe it's enoughness. I definitely struggled with that one, a big amount. Or maybe it's naysayers, like I said in my email last night. But what's your worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could happen? So usually for people, it's, well, I could have invested that money somewhere else, like on something around the home or a holiday or something like that. But when I've talked to Primalistas, when they've left the business, they've said that, even if they've, done it for a year, they've gained so much more than just money. You know, it's been new skills that they've learned, new friendships, new connections, and just, personal growth, essentially. So, what's the worst that could go wrong? Could you live with that? What else is possible? Because you, as a Primalista, are a conduit for good in the world. You're helping people on their health journey and helping them achieve their goals and contributing to a very crowded marketplace that's full of food that nobody really cares if it's good for you or not. And we need more of it. So what happens when you hang up your apron? That's what we call it when people exit the business. Well, all you do is you just email me and let me know that you want to quit, and that's it. And we take you through an exit process to make sure that your stockists are handed over to another producer where possible. We'll try and sell your equipment for you within the group, and make sure that all your loose ends are tied up before you exit your business. Now, what else was I going to say about that? Yeah, in terms of turnover, since I launched the Primalista license on Boxing Day, that's the day after Christmas, if you don't know that in America. and that was in 2016. And to date, 182 Primalistas have joined me, and we currently have 125 still active. So it's around about a 66% stay rate, which is not bad when you think about something that's been going for 4 years, right? In fact, it's very good. So here's a beautiful message from Primalista Peter, who exited the business about 3 months ago. She says, to all new Primalistas, this is a model that works, and it is such a wonderful journey to be on. Enjoy it, and remember the years of experience within the group, and every one of the Primalistas are there to make your journey easier. So let's hear from some of our producers. I don't know why that other slide was in before. It should have been in this bit, right? So this is Primalista Tanya from New South Wales. Before I joined Primal Alternative, I was doing a job that was paying the bills, but didn't really fit my philosophy on health and diet and family life. Doing my first online order, I was so pumped, excited, and motivated to do this well. I've never had a job that fills my bucket like this does. But also, I've never been surrounded by a group of women that are so generous, supportive, encouraging, and genuinely interested in your success, like I have here with Primal Alternative. I've worked in mainly female-dominated jobs, and so this is unexpected and refreshing. And of course, we now have Primalista Gym. So we've transitioned since Tanya wrote this from a group of women to a group of humans. And if you identify as a human, you're very welcome to apply to become a Primalista. And we stuck with a Primalista name. It's a word I made up. And I was thinking, oh, is it feminine? Is it too feminine? And we really thrashed it out. We talked everything through in the group. And we decided that we would keep it because it's a made up word anyway. So it's non-gendered, a bit like barista. So you can have male baristas and female baristas. Let's hear from Primalista Tara in South Australia. So she said, I wanted to be able to earn money from home doing something that I love. I have a young family, so I needed something that could work around them, but be able to provide a real income. I'm putting myself out there, which is huge for me after being a stay-at-home mum for nearly 13 years. I've become more focused for sure and clear about what I want to do. I was so impressed with the level of support right from the start with the emails from H, that's me, and the online resources and how it eliminated any overwhelm I might have otherwise felt. And on top of that, you will have the support of your sisters and bro who have been there before you. It's a very special community that I love. And if you want to hear more from our producers, there are more stories and Primiversary interviews to watch on my IGTV channel, on the blog, on YouTube, and also a whole video series featuring a day in the life of a Primalista where they've filmed themselves at home like a reality TV show, and you can track how they do things, which is really cool. So check it out. And don't forget, I would love you to book your interview with me. There's only 6 weeks left. This week is this is my 3rd week of intake 4. And so far 4 new Primalistas have joined. It's amazing. And there's only 6 weeks left. The price will increase by $500 on December the 17th. So head to primalalternative.com/apply, get access to my diary. You'll find an intake form of about 10 questions to fill out. It won't take you very long, but it will definitely help me prepare in advance for our meeting. And I can't wait to meet you. So what's the investment? Let's look at the existing prices. So remember that the price is going up. So this is only relevant until midnight, December the 16th. So you can go for the mastermind package. This is awesome. I love my mastermind Primalistas. So with that, you get the Primalista license, as well as 6 one-on-one monthly coaching sessions with me and access via WhatsApp voice messages to me, plus the Primalista bonuses. And that total package value is just over $10,800. So you save $2,360. You can go with a payment plan package, which is what the majority of Primalistas, probably about 90%, go for the payment plan package. And that's currently 12 monthly payments of $475. And then you also get your Primalista bonuses and save $1,200. Or you can pay up front and save $200 on the Primalista license and your bonuses. And don't forget, with all of these packages, there is the ongoing monthly membership of $110 on top of that. So here are the bonuses. So you get over $1,200 worth of value when you join Primal Alternative. So you'll get My Business Blueprint, which is an 18-page printable PDF, which just looks at all of the mindset around your business, like your why, and thrashing out any doubts and fears that you've got, a checklist of what you've got to do to get your business started, and a place to record when you get lovely comments from customers, because that's lovely. We often forget those because we're so negative biased, but it's lovely to like record them and look back and think, oh, this is really nice. This is why I'm doing it, you know? You also get Thrive, which is my 21-day clean living journey, Aligning for Success, which is a tapping course specifically designed for Primalistas and all of the doubts and fears that are normal to Primalistas. You'll get Set for Life, which is another health coaching program I've created, as well as an organic fair trade apron, silicone spatula, and one-on-one session with me, which you can have whenever you want. Now, I'd love to take your questions. So please, if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat group, in the chat box, and I'll answer them. If you're watching the replay, oops. I'm so impatient today. If you're watching the replay and I don't answer any of your questions, then just hit reply on the email or put it in the YouTube comments or Facebook or Instagram, and I will answer it all. Now, in case everyone's feeling a bit quiet today, it is Monday. I thought I would pop some of the common questions in here, and you can put yours in the chat group, and then we'll be finished. All right, so quick question. Are shops allowed to charge what they like for a loaf, or is that at their own discretion? So Primalistas can only charge two prices. So you can either charge the wholesale or the retail price, but shops can do what they want, right? We give them a recommended retail price. We've also got a stockist agreement for them to sign, which really just covers your ass in terms of making sure they store it properly, making sure they have got the right prices and know the retail price, and that they'll pay your invoice on time. But they can charge whatever they want. But then if they charge more than our recommended retail price and then complain it's not moving, then you know why. So here's one. I was wondering if you have, as well as having a list of stockists, could you also provide a list of where the Primalistas are located? So this is a slightly old screenshot, and you can get an absolutely up-to-date one if you go into our website, primalalternative.com/primalistas. Will bring up the map and you can see who's near you nearby. And that's cool. You can totally look at that. But what I want you to know is we are nowhere near a saturation point. So what will happen is when we get through to the interview stage, even if you live in some of our more sort of condensed areas like central Perth, central Adelaide, central Melbourne, central Sydney, those are the main places where we seem to have a lot of people at the moment. What we'll do is we'll go through the target stockist spreadsheet. So you'll know where you're planning on approaching, which shops and health food stores and markets you're planning on approaching. And I will go through the stockist spreadsheet with you and make sure that those places are still available. It's something I do many times a week. It's very rare that somebody's already speaking to one of your potential stockists. But if they are, you'll just have to come up with somewhere else. And it really is that simple. And keeping the target stockist spreadsheet up to date when you become a Primalista protects your business, because it's something that we all access. The thing that everybody says to me at interview is, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And that's why we've got this amazing tool. So that never happens. Kitchens. Yes. My biggest concern is that my 80s style timber kitchen just won't cut it for approval. I've got timber bench tops, timber paneled walls, cupboards, and no splashbacks. Now, this is from Shana, who is now a Primalista, who got her kitchen approved. So often what I see with kitchens is that people want to be a Primalista, but they just assume that they have to transform their domestic kitchen into some kind of commercial kitchen, or that their kitchen won't cut it. I can't tell you how many people think this. And the reality is that it's fine. It's usually fine. So long as you don't have paint falling from the ceilings, wild animals roaming your house. You know, a good point actually on pets. Everybody's got a pet, all right? So don't think, oh, I can't do this, I've got a cat. You can, right? Everyone's got a pet. So all you need to do is just be able to put the pet in a different room when you're producing. So it's a real block, you know? It's like, oh, I'd like to do that, but I'd need a new kitchen. Well, that's going to cost about 15 grand. So, and you just put it off and put it off and put it off. What I'd rather you do is send me some pictures of your kitchen, and I'll let you know whether I think it looks passable or not. Or even better, you know, get your Primalista license and talk to your environmental health officer. There's always workarounds. Environmental health officers are really helpful people, and they're very keen to help you. Sorry, I do realize I've gone on slightly more than half an hour. I do try, but I'm very passionate about this. Territory. So this was from an anonymous person who said, hi, Helen, I keep reading your emails, but it seems you don't consider territories for your investing hopefuls, which in the big picture is a very strong consideration. Not addressing that would seem detrimental for long-term growth to me. We don't have territory geographically, because if I said to you, oh, well, you know, Leanne, you've got to cover the whole of Perth, but you only wanted to bake one day a week, it wouldn't really be a very good match, would it? And how would I carve up the whole of the world into usable territories for people? I would spend all my life dealing with territory issues. It just doesn't make sense. There'll never be territory with Primal Alternative geographically. There is territory with your stockists and your markets. Other Primalistas are not allowed to approach your stockist and say, hey, I'll sell you 10 cents cheaper, because we all charge the same. So hopefully that answers that question for you. Collaborative brands. Do I have to pay extra to make the quirky cooking and Pete Evans products? No, you don't. So we pay royalties to Pete and Joe, and that comes from the cost of goods. Remember I showed you all those pie charts? That's factored in that section there. So there we go. All right. So I think we will leave it there because I've gone on and on. I guess my final message would be that there's never going to be any time or money in a few months' time. There's no Nirvana time. You will need to redesign your week to accommodate a business. There's no such thing as ready. There's only now. And you probably think your council is awful and your kitchen won't pass. Those are all very common doubts and fears. So if you're chuckling along, then congratulations, you're normal. So thank you so much for watching this webinar today. I hope I've addressed your questions. If there's anything I haven't, you can absolutely put it in all of the different places you can put it, or save it for when we have an interview. So remember, the next thing I'd love you to do is head to primalalternative.com/apply and find your spot to talk to me there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to meet you in an interview soon. Bye for now.